First, can you give us a short summary of your speech today?
Oh, I wish I could. It was a bit of a ramble, really, but I think what I'm saying are two things. One is that learning is changing a lot around the world. You know, the old model of learning has given way to a new science of learning. How can we do this better? And in a school as fabulous as this, you have the chance to really test some of those new ideas and pass them on to the world. So I think I was really saying, change the world we're learning, which is quite a nice thing.
Yeah, because you said in the beginning of the speech that you want to change the world. In what way can improved learning change the world?
Well, I think it can mend the world, actually. I think, if I look, so often conflicts come out of ignorance, so often unemployment comes out of lack of qualifications and knowledge. You know, children who become learners become better mothers, work better, become better citizens, and become more world aware. Something we're not very good at in Northwest Europe is being aware of the rest of the world. Very few people in Scandinavia know much about what happens in schools in South America, for example. So I think we need to learn about the rest of the world and share with them some of the fabulous things we're doing. And if we, people that learn together, at the end, never really want to kill each other. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, because you travel around the world and visited schools and that. What are the most usual issues that you see?
Oh, that's a really hard thing because there are so many little details. And I think really it's the little details. People often say to me, Stephen, what's the top two things we should do? Well, there aren't two things, there are a million things, But I think the hardest thing is always to trust the students. You do this full time. This is what you do. Your whole life has been learning. So who knows more about this than you do? Well, of course, your teachers are learning professionals. They've got something to say as well. But saying to students, how can we make learning better? I was in a school the other day where where's my phone? I've left it somewhere. But imagine a phone, where the school said to the students, whenever you see really good learning, take your phone out and just video it. And then as teachers, we will see what you think good learning looks like. Now, I've been into schools where the students took out a phone and started videoing the teacher. The children would be in big trouble. So I think the hardest thing is always to trust the children, to trust the students, to help make learning better. That's always the biggest issue. Once you trust them, then everything, they say, why are we doing this? Why do we do this? How could we do this better?
Yeah, and you also talked about stairs and that they were very noisy. What did you mean?
Well, you'll notice, if you walk onto your stairwell, the sound in the building, even in this space we're in now, we've got great ceiling tiles to capture the sound. We haven't got parallel surfaces. On the stairwell, the sound bounces between the glass. The stairs are hard, the ceiling's high, so the sound, you walk into a stairwell, flick your fingers, you'll hear a different noise. So if you're a student in this lovely, peaceful, tranquil, thoughtful school, you walk onto the stairwell and it's, so you have a little moment of trauma every time you go from floor to floor. It would be really easy to make the stairs quieter, but also you could make them more interesting. A really interesting thing if you walk around the school is how little maths and science there is. Maths and science, computer science, hugely interesting. You've got science labs, you've got people doing great tech, building bridges, I was watching video cameras in a pond, they're doing video and fabulous science going on, but the science isn't out on the corridors and down the walls and up the walls, and some of the artwork here, if I look in the walls I can see students' artwork, I can see pictures, but I can't see the science and maths. So you might say actually science and math media really matters, to build the camera, to know about the white level balance, to understand the cone of sound, to know what decibel. That's real science. You were holding the microphone, but there's a whole science brain going on there as well. Why isn't that shown off? So you might notice that. Well, we're better than the stairwells. The stairwells are a great place to fill with science and maths and programming, and so you could make it better and quieter and better for learning. You could do that. Just take them over.
Yeah, because you said that the signs of schools and colours can affect us in learning. Can you talk?
Yes, they do. And The research is quite interesting. The original research came out of a big research paper in Harvard, and they were looking at light. And remember that light levels are important, which is always a challenge in Scandinavia, because you go up to Tromsø and it's flipping dark at this time of the year. So you're looking for lux levels higher than about 250, and for work, to read your questions. To read the questions, you want light levels at around about 450 or above. So we know that light matters, but the colour matters. We know that in the morning, some students, I don't know what you're like waking up in the morning, but some teenagers wake up really early, but most wake up quite late. And, for a lot of teenagers, their body doesn't really start to get going until 10 o'clock. But if you come into a school and the school has a lot of red light, the red light wakes you up. If you watch television in the morning, if I watch BBC breakfast television, everything is red. The studio's red, the sofas are red, people wear red blouses, shirts, jackets, ties, everything is red. Wake up Britain, it's trying to... In the afternoon, we're not so clear. Greens, blues, purples, we're not so clear what works. But we know that red works, and we know that really good white light works as well. But there's more research to be done. But I go into schools, they never have red lights on in the morning. And all the students look snoozy. It would be really easy to change.
Talking about phones, you said that you give a 4-year-old a phone. Ain't that a little bit early?
No, I think it's a little late. I think we give 2 and 3-year-olds crayons and paper and books. I'm a granddad, look, I'm really old now, and I have a baby granddaughter. You saw the big granddaughter, Josie, who's 6. I have an Emily, who's 6. And baby Josie is only 3 months. She's already reading books. We sit down and read books with her. They're black and white books with faces, because we know what's happening in your brain is really interesting. You have neurons in your brain. About 7% of your brain are neurons, trying to remember things, trying to remember the next question. The rest of your brain is trying to make sense of chaos, trying to make sense of pattern matching. When you learn to drive, to start with, steering and changing gear is quite hard, and then it's really easy, but your brain is thinking, there's a car overtaking, there's a dog on the pavement, I've seen this before, I'll slow down, so that starts really early. So children making sense of the fact that a phone is good for now, but it's also good for not now. I can FaceTime to you, hello granddad, but also I can send you a picture. Last night I sent Emily a picture from the plane. She sent me a picture from her train. So I was flying, she was on the train. We swapped pictures and then sent a little text. I said, I'm on my plane. She said, I'm on my train. That's really nice. She's building categories of transport, but she's also understanding that I can't reply immediately because I'm on a plane. That can't start too early. When did you get your first phone?
I think I was about 11 or 10. I was the second last one in class that got my phone.
That was your parents being extra cautious, but they probably thought we'd better get you a phone so you're ready for big school. And then they started to think a few years later, you'd better get ready for big school. And now they think, well, maybe at 7 or 8 you need a phone to be safe. But I'm absolutely saying, for the brain development you need to understand how to use them, there is no too early. And my rule of send me a text, I'll buy you a phone, was probably me being a bit like your parents, a bit late. I'm saying 4, feels a bit young to me. Sorry, it's another little interesting story. My brother-in-law, who's a lot older than me, does what very old people do, which is he phones me up, and then if I don't answer, he turns his phone off. And really old people turn their phone off when they're not using it. I don't know why they do this. If you have great-grandparents, they would do this. Your grandparents, probably not. So, and it drives me mad because he phones me, I phone him back, and his phone's off. So little Emily, at 5, went to FaceTime me, and I turned off FaceTime, do not disturb. And she said, Granddad, why did you turn off FaceTime? And I said, well, I was giving a lecture to a lot of people. And she said, yes, I know that, but why did you turn off FaceTime? She knew that if I was giving a lecture, we wouldn't have a chat, but she still didn't understand why I would ever turn it off. she's in an always-on world. That's where we need to be. So, yeah, it's a long answer, but even at 4 is too late. And your parents were doing the right thing when you were 10, but it turns out it was the wrong thing.
Okay, thank you so much for coming here.
Pleasure.